Hello and welcome back to my channel. So today, against my better judgment, I am going to be talking about complaints I have about K-pop as a singer. I've made videos discussing vocals before and most of them are over on Patreon because people tend to get very passionate in the comment section every time I discuss singing in K-pop. I hope that I can keep this video public, but there is a chance I may limit it to just patrons if the comment section gets too ugly, and I don't want to have to do that, so please act civilized. But for the most part, this video will be me discussing issues I have with K-pop as someone with a background in singing regarding subjects like training, quality of vocalists in K-pop, etc. As with all of my videos talking about vocals, I have to give my obligatory background and disclaimer. I am a classically trained vocalist. I've been singing for many years. However, I am not a voice coach, nor have I ever claimed to be. These are my opinions based on my experience as a singer. I am not claiming that everything I say is right. You're allowed to disagree with anything I say in this video. Just try not to be mean about it. Now, let's get into the issues I have with K-pop as a singer. The first issue is dancing mattering more than vocals. Among K-pop stans, the consensus seems to be that if you can dance, you're talented. The ability to dance matters more than the ability to sing, which has never made sense to me. For example, Leah from ITZY gets hate for not being as good a dancer as the rest of ITZY when she's objectively a good singer and the best singer in the group. Leah being a good singer is more important than her dancing in terms of her being an idol. Singing is quite literally the backbone of everything idols do, yet it's treated as a secondary skill. It's like being a good vocalist is a bonus instead of a necessary skill to being an idol. You don't listen to idols dancing, albums aren't visual, and you don't just listen to the sound of an idol's feet tapping. Singing is quite literally what makes an idol an idol. Yes, dancing is important, but the ability to sing is imperative. If you can sing but can't dance, you're still a singer. If you can dance but can't sing, you're essentially a backup dancer. I understand that K-pop is very visual and therefore a lot of people care more about dancing than singing, but this has always bothered me. If an idol isn't good at singing, why are they an idol? Why not just be a backup dancer or part of a dance crew? Why are we hearing their voice on songs when they clearly don't have what it takes to be a good singer? Some of you may disagree, but singing will always matter more than dancing. Singing is what makes someone an idol. I feel like this used to be understood in earlier generations of K-pop, but starting at the end of the third gen, it feels like being able to sing began to matter less and less, even though that's the primary job of an idol. It doesn't make sense that the one skill that separates idols from everyone else is neglected by K-pop stans and companies alike. The next issue is 4th/5th gen vocalists being average at best. The quality of vocalists in K-pop has clearly gone down over the years. Since the third gen, there have been fewer and fewer truly exceptional vocalists in K-pop. Most of the main vocalists in 4th/5th gen groups wouldn't even be lead vocalists in 2nd and 3rd gen groups. I hate to sound like a hag and like I'm reminiscing on the good old days, because I'm by no means a 2nd gen stan, but it's seriously shocking that we went from having no shortage of truly exceptional K-pop vocalists in the early days of K-pop to having, at best, very painfully average idols in the current day. Wendy from Red Velvet, Luna from FX, Hyolyn from Sistar, Chen from EXO, Jungkook from BTS, and many more, all belonging to the 2nd and 3rd gen. There is practically no one in the 4th or 5th gen in either girl groups or boy groups meeting their talent. And that's not to say I expect every vocalist out of the 4th and 5th gen to be a 1 in a million singer, but there isn't even any comparison to previous generations of K-pop. To be clear, I'm not saying that all 4th/5th gen vocalists are bad vocalists, or even that every single one is average, but looking at the majority of newer groups in the industry, a lot of them are just reaching the threshold for being considered a decent singer. They're not exceptional, they don't have voices people gush about, they're just okay. Which leads me to my next issue. My next issue is the training process. The state of vocals in K-pop leads me to believe that companies are just playing around with their trainees during the training process. Seriously, why are companies not yielding better results for the supposed time and money that goes into training idols to sing? Now, I can't tell you how idols are being trained, but I can tell you that what little training they do receive is lackluster. The best singers in K-pop almost always received voice lessons prior to their decision to become an idol, or at the very least have a background in singing, such as being in their school's choir or theater productions. There are a handful of above average vocalists in K-pop, and I believe it's because these idols are not being trained to reach their full potential under the trainee system. In fact, I think conformity is one of the biggest concerns for K-pop companies. A lot of idols are indistinguishable from other idols unless their voice just naturally sounds different, and in my opinion, it's because they're all being molded the same way. We've seen the backlash idols with quote-unquote unique voices get, for example, Taehyung from BTS. I think most companies do not want idols to find their own sound and discover the voice that is unique to them. They want to train idols to replicate a sound that is tried and true and that they know most people will like or at the very least tolerate. It's why 99% of vocalists in K-pop are tenors, sopranos, or mezzo-sopranos, and they all sound more or less the same. Next issue is the lack of vocally challenging songs. The fourth gen has really seen the decline of vocally challenging songs, with more emphasis being placed on dancing, rapping, and that weird talk singing a lot of groups do. Recently, there was controversy around Red Velvet's Chill Kill because some K-pop stans felt that it was outdated. Unlike most recent releases, Chill Kill was very heavy on the vocals, with much less emphasis placed on rapping and dancing than your average 4th to 5th gen group. And because a lot of us have been conditioned by releases from those groups to not expect anything special when it comes to vocals, real singing has apparently become a thing of the past. The fact that vocal-heavy songs are considered out of style is depressing, and it shows the backseat that vocals have taken in recent years. As I said, K-pop stans are collectively being conditioned to consider vocal-heavy songs out of style, which I think can largely be blamed on the 4th/5th gen groups' reliance on rapping, dancing, or instrumentals to take up space in songs. I wouldn't mind it as much if most of them could actually rap, or if some of the instrumentals weren't grating to listen to or just empty. Maybe they'll sing a bit in the pre-chorus, but as I said, it feels like a lot of groups are relying on rapping, instrumentals, and dance breaks to fill space where their vocalists won't or more likely can't. The next issue I have is groups not singing as groups. Harmonizing is a lost skill amongst K-pop groups, and I don't understand it. One of the unique things that a group can do that a soloist can't is harmonize, and yet most K-pop groups can't do it. And I mean can't, not won't. I think that a lot of idols lack the musicality to be able to harmonize, so they just sing one after another. This makes for unbelievably boring K-pop songs. It's not interesting to hear one group member sing after another each time, or to sing in unison each and every song. This is why I appreciate Red Velvet so much, because they always make full use of their voices as a group. They are one of the few groups who consistently harmonize in their songs, and it's one of the standout points of their discography. They sing as a collective, not as individuals all singing the same song. Also, as I mentioned, it speaks to their skills as vocalists to be able to harmonize. Anybody can sing their part completely undisturbed. It takes more skill to be able to sing your part while someone is singing a different part alongside you without straying from your given part. Harmonizing is a vital skill a lot of K-pop groups lack, and I blame the training process. Groups are not learning to sing in a way where their voices combine and meld. They're just learning to sing as individuals who occasionally will all sing the same part. I can think of so many K-pop songs that would be more interesting if the members could harmonize. Unfortunately, it seems like this is not a skill companies are training idols to do, and most idols who can harmonize are picking up the skill on their own, independent of company voice lessons, or have already developed it from actual voice lessons prior to becoming a trainee. And the last issue is the tolerance for lip syncing. Something that I've always struggled to understand since getting into K-pop is the tolerance for lip syncing. Compared to the Western music industry, consumers of K-pop are much more tolerant of lip syncing. Lip syncing is very much the norm in K-pop, to the point where calling it an open secret doesn't even feel right to say because it's so out in the open and accepted. Meanwhile, lip syncing gets a lot more pushback in the Western music industry. That's not to say it doesn't happen, because it obviously does, but live vocals are expected, and you'll receive much more criticism for lip syncing from a Western audience. In fact, sometimes the only times we'll hear K-pop idols sing is when they're performing in the US, because they know that lip syncing won't go over well with an American audience. And while there are a lot of issues with the Western music industry, being critical of artists who lip sync is something I wish we could incorporate more into K-pop. This may sound harsh, but as I've said before, Being unable to sing live essentially makes you a glorified backup dancer. Idols who don't sing live provide no more than their backup dancers do. Honestly, companies would be better off just hiring backup dancers and having them lip sync than they would wasting time and money training idols to sing, because at the end of the day, they're not even using their voices. It's gotten to the point where I don't even understand why companies spend money on voice lessons for trainees and idols for the startling lack of singing most of them do. It's genuinely jarring to me how much lip syncing happens in K-pop and how few people seem to realize or care about its implications. Lip syncing should be criticized more, and I cannot understand the mindset of people who aren't bothered by it. Anyways, that is all for this video. Let me know your thoughts and opinions below. I would love to hear from you all, especially if you have a background in singing like I do. But yeah, thank you all for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!